Hello and welcome back. When we say AI, you hear about so many new terms. You might have heard about artificial intelligence, that is the AI, the machine learning, ML, the deep learning, the neural network. Then also you might have heard about model, LLM, and many terms you might have heard about. So what are they? So before we proceed with learning about how to develop AI application, it is better we have a high level understanding of all these terms. So in this session, we'll go through this and understand it at the high level. So our objective here is to ensure that by the end of this session, you should be able to learn what is the difference between an AI, a machine learning, and a deep learning, and what is data and why it is so important in developing your model, and how data is used to train a model, and how the training works. We will not go deep into it, but we will understand it at a high level. And one more important thing which we need to be aware of is a responsible AI. So we'll understand what responsible AI is and why it is important for the society. So what is an AI? In a simple term, we can say that AI is the field of developing systems with an intelligence which is similar to a human being. And AI is not magic. It is not developed with a single technology or a single approach, but it is developed through using multiple technologies and using multiple approaches to build a system. So, what is the difference between an artificial intelligence, AI, the machine learning, and the deep learning? Let us understand it with a simple example. In general, AI is the umbrella term, and inside the AI, there is machine learning, and inside the machine learning, there is a term called deep learning. Let us take an example of an automatic driving car. The automated driving car will have so many features. So it will understand from its history that where the signals are, where there is a roadblock, where there is a diversion, everything. And it also, while driving, it will understand if a human is crossing or if a truck is going in front of the car or if it is coming from the opposite direction or if somebody is crossing the road, everything it will understand. So the automatic car as a whole, that is considered as an AI system. And understanding whether from the history whether a signal is there or a roadblock is there or a diversion is there, this is done through a machine learning. That is, it uses the past history and what it has learned earlier. And understanding the faces, understanding the object, recognizing what it is done through the deep learning. Now let us compare everything with a chart. So what is an AI? AI is the overall goal, making your system what you have developed or a machine more intelligent. For example, it is a self-driving car. So an ML is a way to achieve the AI through models which are learned from the previous data and previous experience. For example, your spam filter is an ML which reads from multiple emails and predicts that a specific email can be a spam. And deep learning, once again, is a subset of ML and making the brain more powerful using neural networks. If, for example, your ChatGPT, what you're using is a deep learning software. Now, let us understand the workflow of an AI at a high level. Though we may not be using all these steps in our development activities, it is better you have a clear understanding of how the AI works. The first step is to define the problem which the AI system is going to solve. Let us take an example here. We are going to take an example of a student who is going to start learning something and implement it in his real life. The problem definition, we can decide the subject what the student is going to study. The next step is the data collection. So he need to choose either the teacher need to provide or he need to choose the right textbook. So that is a data collection. And then the next step is data cleaning. So it may be a huge book, and inside that, not everything is required for him. So removing or identifying which are all the things not relevant for his current objective is a data cleaning. So we will call it as a noise. The noise are something which are not relevant for the current context. The next step is feature engineering. That is, in our example, identifying all the key points, which are all the things you need to learn, is the feature engineering. Next step is the model engineering. So in our practical example, we'll say the right study method, how you want to learn, whether you want to learn it through practice or whether you want to learn it through theory. This is the model engineering. Next is the training. So we have the textbook, we have identified what need to be studied, what you are not supposed to study, everything is there, but you need to study, right? So that is what is the training. The next is evaluation. You have designed a model, whether the model is suitable or working fine or not. That is a model evaluation. In our practical example, you are writing an examination. That is the model evaluation. So that gives the result of the effectiveness of your training. The next thing, you design the model and that need to be deployed so that our system is using. So in our practical example, so you are joining a job and you are utilizing what you have learned. And the last is monitoring. So the situation changes, new technology comes into the picture. So you keep on improving your skills, you keep on learning, and you are updating the model. That is what is monitoring from the feedbacks. So this overall is the workflow of an AI-based system. But in our practical example, we will be using the trained models. It may be a GPT model, it may be DeepSeek, or it may be Google Gemini models, which we will be using. But how those models are created, this is how those models are created. So, what is the workflow of an AI or how AI works? The most important thing for an AI to work is data. The data is trained using machine learning and all other steps, and a model is created. And the model is the thing which we use in our AI to do the prediction. So, in a nutshell, if we classify what is training and what is an inference or a result, is the training is the process of learning a pattern from a certain set of data. And inference is utilizing what it has learned and identify a prediction or a solution. Let's take a simple example in our life. Every day you are following a pattern. So morning at 7 o'clock is when you get up and you are getting ready. You are taking breakfast at 8 o'clock and you are leaving to your college at 9 o'clock. So this is what is happening almost every day from Monday to Friday. And on Saturday and Sunday is a holiday for you. So you're waking up at 9 o'clock. You're going to meet your friends or you're doing whatever thing it may be. So here, the data is your daily routine. So when you are waking up, when you are taking your breakfast, when you are starting to a college, and when you are going to the college and attending the classes, when you are returning back, when you are having your dinner, when you are sleeping, these are all the data. And it also understands it works only from Monday to Friday, and on Saturday and Sunday the data is different. So the AI, what it does is like it takes the data and it trains itself and creates a model. And it understands that if the date is Saturday, it is able to predict that this guy is not going to get up at 7 o'clock. So the training is how it is learning the pattern from when you are waking up on which day at what time. And an inference is its ability to understand that on Saturday, this guy is not going to get up at 7 o'clock. So, what is the data? In our earlier example about yourself, the data is your lifestyle. The time you are getting up, the time you are eating your breakfast, the time you are starting to college, these are all data. And the data can be of multiple type. It may be a text. So assume like you are having an email, you are getting a series of email, and it may be understanding a pattern from your email text, how you are writing. Okay. Or it may be images. So you will be, for example, if you go to the Google Photos, it understands from a face recognition. So it can be images also, it can be a data. Or it may be audio, or it may be numbers, anything can be a data. And normally, like when you are training a model with the data, there are issues. See, for example, in your Google Photos, if you are having the photographs of only one person, okay, then if you are adding another person, it may not be able to understand until you are tagging it, right? So this is an example of missing values. Okay. And it may be noisy label. So for the same person, if you are giving a label once as John, and then another same photo, if you are giving the label as Henry, so it may not be able to understand it. So I'm giving everything at the high level for you to understand, but it is not the reality. It works in a more intelligent way. That's a different thing. Okay, and there may be, I mean, we spoke about missing values or insufficient data. So the key thing what you need to understand is that data need to be accurate so that like it understands and trains its model. So what data is used for? It trains and creates a model. So what is a model? It is a little complex, right? So it uses a lot of mathematical formulas and mathematical structures and learns a pattern out of the data what you are supplying. So as we said earlier, training is the process of learning and inference is the process of utilizing what it has learned and providing you with an answer or a prediction. So when it is learning, the process called the machine learning, there are different types of learning. The one is a supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement. So let's see what is the difference between this type of learning. So the supervised learning is the process of you give the data in a very structured manner with a label. We have a set of data, a CSV file, in which you clearly mention the first column is the serial number, the second column is the name of the person, the third column is the time at which he arrives to the college. Or if you look at little complex a scenario, I can say that it is an example of tagging your friends in your Google Photos. If you tag it, it very clearly understands that this space belongs to John and this space belongs to Henry. Another example we can say about supervised learning is your email spam filter. It identifies something as a spam and you say that it is not a spam. So next time the email is coming from that particular email ID, it will not consider it as a spam. So supervised learning is very useful when you know the outcomes. The unsupervised learning is the process by which the machine learning understands a pattern from the set of inputs and it creates its own model. For example, if you are having your sales data, so it can understand the customer's pattern from the sales data and classify as this is a high potential customer or this is a one-off customer. All those things are done through the unsupervised machine learning. So the reinforcement is a process of learning something using rewards and penalties. For example, there is a robotic vacuum cleaner. So it navigates and understands the room structure. And all of a sudden, if there is an obstacle, so it understands that next time when it is navigating, there is an obstacle. It plans the route according to that. These are all things you need to understand at the high level only. So you don't need to bother too much about understanding it deeply. What is a responsible AI? Responsible AI is about building AI systems that are safe, fair, transparent, secure, and beneficial to everyone. The each principles what we are seeing in this particular slide protects people in a different way. And together they form the foundation of a trustworthy AI. Let us look at it one by one very quickly. Fairness. The AI should treat all the people equally and avoid bias based on a gender, race, age, language, or any other classification. For example, you are creating a loan approval AI. So, if suppose if this particular AI system is rejecting the loan application of a particular person because of his caste or a language or a region, it's not fair. So it has to treat everyone equally and it has to validate only based on the loan approval criteria. And one more important thing is the reliability and safety. The outcome, what the AI system is producing, should be reliable. Suppose you are having a medical diagnosis AI and it must give a reliable result across different hospitals, lighting conditions, or patient types. Suppose if the model misreads an X-ray image, then it could lead to a wrong treatment. So it has to be reliable. A must protect the user data and it has to ensure that it is not leaked, misused, or used inappropriately. And it is not accessed without the permission. See, for example, you are having a voice assistant. What it needs is to understand what you say. It is not required to store what you are speaking. When we talk about transparency, let's understand what transparency is. For example, you are having a loan approval AI system and it is rejecting the loan application of one of the applicant. Then it should not simply reject it, but it has to say why it has been rejected. So, what is the parameter which made the loan application as rejected? AI is a system, and if it is taking some decision, we should not assign the responsibility to the AI system. A human should take the responsibility. Suppose you bought a self-driving car, and if it has taken a wrong decision and hit someone, so we should not blame the self-driving car, but the company which has manufactured and configured the self-driving car is responsible for the action of the car. The AI system should be beneficial to all the different people and it must be usable for a diverse category of people. Suppose you are writing a speech to text AI agent. It has to understand the different accent with which the people will be talking about. So you should not exclude one or two particular accent, and it should not be developed only for the standard accent with which it is trained.
Hope you are able to understand a little bit more about what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, and what is deep learning. With this, let us conclude this session for today. And in the next session, we'll be learning a little more deep about the model and the agent. That is the only theory we are going to talk about. Beyond that, let us fly directly to the practical lessons. Thanks for joining. See you.